Champions rise and champions fall. Some of them fall very hard, some of them fall very lightly, some of them retire early, like GSP did. Today we're going to talk about what we can learn from champions, and we're discussing Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold. Now, how did Michael Bisping beat him? Now, Luke Rockhold's rise to the top to get the UFC middleweight belt was actually one that was very exciting. He had never gone the distance inside the UFC up to this point. He had a few decision wins in Strikeforce, but other than that, he defeated people by submission or by TKO. He beat Michael Bisping, beat Lyoto Machida. He lost his UFC debut to Vitor Belfort, but after that, he was just dominating everybody between him. Then he came to Chris Weidman, UFC 194, I believe it was, and he beat him by TKO in the 4th round of their fight. And that was after he nearly stopped him in the 3rd round. A lot of people figured the fight could have been stopped there. The 4th round was just more of a beating with some very vicious ground and pound. He destroyed Chris Weidman, and many people expected him to reign as the undisputed middleweight champion for a very long time. But he ran to Michael Bisping, and Michael Bisping's left hook took him down. Now, some people try to call this dumb luck or chance, or even Rock told him he got lucky. But if you watch the fight, here's a clip from it. Now you can see right off the bat, Michael Bisping is looking to land that left hand on Luke Rockhold, and Luke Rockhold is shaking his head at him. He's not taking him very seriously. But as you can see, he repeatedly drops his right hand over and over again. He knocked him down. And then after that, Luke Rockhold scrambled to get back to his feet very quickly. And then Michael Bisping landed another left hand flush on him, dropped him, and then he jumps in for some ground and pound. The ref stops the fight. Now, what can we learn from this? Well, before we even get to the actual fight, I want to talk about the kind of guy you never want to be. Bas Rutten said this very well a while ago. He said you never want to be the guy who always has that one weakness and never works on it. When he was an up-and-coming champion, he was always learning. He was always seeking to learn new things and new techniques. Whatever he was bad at, he wanted to get better at. Whatever he was good at, he also wanted to get better at. When Bas first came, he was purely a striker. He had a very good guillotine, but that's because that was the only submission he knew how to do. You can see here he's struggling with his guillotine in his very second fight. Almost lost this fight, wound up winning it though by delivering a knee to the body. Now, when he ran to Malzikatu Funaki, he got defeated by a submission. After that, he started to work on his submissions day and night. He even talks about how he would wake up his wife in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, I learned this new submission, let me try this out on you." So you want to continue making progress, whether you're building houses, working on cars, or in this case, learning to fight. So, Bisping stated that Rockhold had a bad habit of dropping his left hand, and that he and his coaches worked specifically on landing a left hand to him. And if you look at each time he's been knocked out, when Blachowicz knocked him out, when Yoel Romero knocked him out, and when Bisping knocked him out, it was all with the left hand. Now, as a coach, this is where the coach comes in. You should be telling your fighter, hey, you've got this really bad habit of dropping your right hand. We need to work on that. And when it's something that is that easy for your opponent to capitalize on, at the championship level, you can't do that. When you're up and coming and people don't know what you can do and they don't have a lot of footage of your fights, then it's easier for some of those, you shouldn't let them, but it's easier for some of those mistakes to slip by. When you're training, you should be recording your footage and reviewing it to watch your mistakes. I did that week before last with my coach. And he was telling me everything I was doing wrong. And so when I watched the video, I could see it. I was holding my chin up too high. When I was tucking it, I had a bad habit of bringing it back up. I was leaning in on some jabs. So he was doing a lot of things wrong. Now, for the actual fight itself, what was Rockhold doing wrong and how did Bisping capitalize on it? I already talked about him dropping his right hand, which is, of course, a bad habit. But also, he was the way he was throwing his jab, you could see he was stepping in really deeply right here. Now, when you lean into a punch, there are some punches where you're going to throw your weight forward on them, but you want to land those usually when you've already had your opponent beaten and battered. And you also still want to have your defense up when you're leaning in. So he was leaning in really deeply, and he wasn't stepping off the center line. Usually when you step off the center line, you're moving just like when you throw a kick. You step off so someone can't counter you with the right hand. So leaning into the punch is what he was doing wrong. Other thing he was doing wrong, or rather did wrong, when the left hand did drop him the first time, Luke scrambled very quickly to get back to his feet. Now, I don't know how much the first punch affected him if he wasn't thinking very straight. He was still clearly conscious. It's the second punch that really does more damage to him when his arm just dropped. But he still has the energy to get back up. If you get hit really hard, you shouldn't be trying to get back to your feet so quickly. Now, Rockhold has very, very, very good jiu-jitsu. Very good. So what he should seek to do is to keep it on the ground. You know, if someone's getting the better of you at striking and you have really good jiu-jitsu or really good wrestling, you want to change the level. You can see DC do it here against Alexander Gustafsson. Gustafsson almost knocked DC out in this fight. You see him land that big shot. Boom. DC's wobbly. What does DC do? Go straight to wrestling. He doesn't try to keep it stand up. He doesn't try to turn it into a match and say, yeah, my chin can take it. No. He changes the levels, and even though he doesn't quite get the takedown right away, he still prevents Alexander from landing more punches and doing more damage. So you can see right here, Rockhold tries to get back up to his feet. He should have tried to keep that on the ground. Now, these have just been my opinions, and what can we learn from this? One, let's do a review, guys. One, always review your own footage, even of the fights that you win, and look for your weaknesses. Two, isolate those weaknesses and work on them so they're no longer your weaknesses. If you have a fight, 4 months ago, and someone else is watching that and say, ooh, this guy has a bad habit where he leaves his body exposed, well, you should be watching that so when that guy gets in there with you, you're covering that part of your body up, because you should be learning just as much as your opponent is learning about you. Trust me, all the time you're training to fight and win, there's somebody out there who's training and fighting to capitalize on every single opportunity you give them. That's what good fighters do. Three, when you're in the fight, if you do get hit and you're not buzzed, I know if you're buzzed, you're probably not thinking it straight. But if you do get fight and you're still conscious and you feel the person's getting the better of you in the striking exchanges, well, change levels, take them down or try to hold them down. Now, these are just my opinions, and I'm not saying this to be mean to Luke Rockhold or any other fighter out there. I'm saying this so that you can learn from the mistakes of others, and you don't want to make those same mistakes yourself. Thanks for watching.